Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. I'm here with Jacob Caniglione. He is a tax associate at Grant Thornton right now, but through the years, he's had some leadership experience at different roles in college and including his own real estate company, just managing projects with that as well. So I guess, Jacob, can you kind of just tell me about the basics for what your role is now, where you did your undergrad, some basics about you.
Do you want me to start like at the beginning of college and work my way up, or
Sure.
do you want to go right now? So leadership starting from like the jump. I was a lead waiter at Ted's, kind of coming into college.
That's a Mexican restaurant?
Yeah. Great food. Hit up Ted's real quick. But so I was there for a while. Ended up transitioning. Once I knew I wanted to do accounting, I transitioned out of that and worked for a dealership for a little bit. Ended up working in their accounts payable for like kind of like an internship for a couple months, and then ended up at a true first accounting job at a small oil and gas company. Throughout college, I started a small real estate company where we bought a house. It was primarily used for me to live for free there. We had some roommates and kind of just cut my expenses. And then leaving college, we ended up flipping that house. And so I got the wonderful experience of managing pretty much a very cosmetic flip. Nothing like stud-wise, but everything from tile to paint to kitchen bathrooms. It was that kind of whole experience.
Yeah.
And then leading into me going to GT, I've been there for about 2 years now, and I'm kind of entering a role where I have a decent idea what I'm doing now, and so I'm helping the new people and our new intern kind of show them the ropes and kind of make sure to get them up to speed where we need to go running for this tax season.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I guess with that real estate flip, who are the people that were involved with that, like that you kind of managed and oversaw that project?
Yeah, so it was me. I did some work for it, and then it was my fiance's family, and then we had one main sub.
Yeah.
Who did the flooring for everything? Because that's something that flooring's hard. And it wasn't really too. I feel like a lot of people think it's a lot more than what it really is. It's really just helping. It's just I think the big thing is just communication.
Mm-hmm.
As long I communicated well with Cameron's team and then the sub, and it was pretty easy going from that aspect. And we ended up selling it in October of 21, so everything worked out great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess in your job at Grant Thornton, do you kind of manage your own projects there a little bit? As far as, if you have something to do, you can just, like you said, the communication with your team members and ask them to do kind of parts of it and just have them help and have the intern that you kind of help mentor, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. So GT, it's centralized and decentralized in a way. So every Monday we'll have like a scheduling meeting and kind of schedule some stuff out. But after that, it's kind of, you gotta get your stuff done. So it's decentralized in that way where we're on teams on some projects, but on other projects it's almost more of individualism, and it's kind of up to you to get the job done, and then you can use your other resources within the firm, which other people, we have sites for many things to try to do some research on. But it really hits a very team-wide aspect in our fall. So we have a very heavy trust clientele, and then we have several large corporations that are due in the late fall. And so that's kind of when the big team aspect comes into play.
Yeah.
So in late September, we do Hobby Lobby, and God, it was 8 of us, and they file in 45 different states.
Wow.
And so it was me and a couple other associates, and then one director who kind of all helped us all to get this job done. But it's nice because we would just talk on teams. It's like, hey, I'll do XYZ, you'll do ABC, and we kind of all collaborate on what needs to get done.
Is that something? I don't know how it is with accounting as much as it is, because I come from a tech background a little bit, and I guess when they're assigning projects, you kind of work to that person's strengths. I don't know if with accounting, is it all kind of similar no matter what it is, or
it depends. Like, to an extent, it's all similar stuff, but when you get to like a 1040, it's like a personal term, a 1040 is completely different from a partnership term, like a 1065.
Yeah.
But in regards to that, like, partnerships and corps are pretty similar, and the form kind of look the same. It's the same kind of idea. There's some slight different changes, but once I hit manager, like a true manager, it'll be, I can like pick a designation, if that makes sense. And there's like 8 different subcategories we have. And from like, we call it TRAW, which is like tax advisory, privately held businesses. We have a tax digital consulting side. It kind of whatever interests you the most, you kind of like designate yourself to that once you get more higher up. But a vast majority of Oklahoma City is privately held businesses.
Okay.
So we do a lot of partnerships, a lot of corporations, and then in regard with that, we'll do those partnerships and corporations owners and their personal stuff as well.
So pretty much every individual kind of works on similar things.
Yeah. In a summary, yeah.
I guess. So you've been in a few different roles throughout the years, like you said, with the real estate flip where you're managing that project, and lead like wait staff at TEDS. And I guess, can you kind of talk about how the leadership styles were different when you were in each role, I guess? Because I know, TEDS, you're probably working with a lot more blue collar people versus people now where everybody is a knowledge worker and has a degree and everything, versus the contractors that you worked with and the other one where also different. Even
with TEDS, like, I think this goes across all of them. It's like, you treat people with respect, you don't be an asshole, and that accomplishes like 90% of your problems, in my opinion. But yeah, there's like, even just from like the vernacular of people at TEDS, the people at GT, it's a slight, we talk a little different. But and I like to think the people I work with now are a little more
professional.
Professional. I love TEDS. The people there were great. And a lot of them, like, I know a couple of them ended up in nursing school. I think one transitioned out to, I think one is like a GM at the TEDS now. It's like, there's room for opportunity, room for growth, right, like everywhere. But the leadership style differs just from a sense of, mainly, I would say, how you communicate what needs to get done.
Yeah.
I would say you can be pretty direct in the TED situation. I was pretty direct with the flip. It's like, hey, we need to do X, Y, Z. But at GT, I'm helping our intern with a return, and I'm like, hey, dude, like, we need to get this done. I'll kind of give him the resources, and he's learning, and I'd rather him fail right now than fail, farther steps down, when it's in final review. So I'll kind of be a little more decentralized in that point, where it's like, hey man, here's what we got to do. Pull up last year's stuff, kind of see what we're looking at there, and then give it your best shot, and we'll kind of go from there.
That's kind of been a common theme in these interviews, is that to almost like encourage failure sometimes.
For
one of the best ways to learn is through failed experiences, what went wrong, and just being really, just have a good understanding of that.
Mm-hmm. Like, people always say public's like college, because it's like, I do not work on the same thing every day. It is like, I'm working on 2 private equity clients right now who have pretty tight deadlines, but one files in like 16 states, and the other one I think is going to file in like 48 with their second company. And so they're both partnerships, but one does oil and gas, one does trucking. Mm-hmm. So it's like big picture the same stuff, but it's once we get into details, they're completely different. So, but yes, the encouragement failure thing, it's like, if I'm not failing and if I can just go whip everything out, like comes out perfect,
Then you're not really learning.
Yeah, it's like sweet, but give me something harder. It's like I need to keep pushing myself to where I can keep learning.
That's kind of also been a theme that we've talked about in this class a little bit, is just like you want your work to be kind of meaningful, and part of doing that is just like challenging your employees.
Yeah, for sure.
And then another thing, I guess, with that too, at least for more white collar jobs where you're working with like skilled people, is offering a lot of autonomy in what they do. I guess like you can kind of give them some basic guidelines.
Yes.
But a lot of it is just their own trial and error.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I don't know. In my experience, that's the most like satisfying things, is to kind of figure something out that is completely on my own.
Oh, dude, like we have this software that'll help us, like we prep stuff in like this big sweaty Excel, and then we kind of use the Excel to help tie out to our tax returns, and it's like when everything ties, and it's like I need help, and it was hard, and it's like, oh shit, it's like let's go. It's like everything looks good, everything makes sense, but like there's times I'll be looking at shit, I'm like, what the hell is, I'm like, what the hell is this difference, or where's this coming from? Which is nice. It's like as you reach out and like we can ask our tax partner something that me and the intern spend an hour on, and he's like, oh, it's this, and he'll know in like 5 minutes.
Oh man.
And he's been doing this for
that's just comes with experience.
Doing this for longer than I'm alive. He just knows how to do it at this point.
Yeah, working with accounting or with accountants, I guess, most of the people you work with, do a lot of them tend to be kind of introverted. I kind of get that a lot. When I interviewed somebody who works in software before this, and I know a lot of them are pretty introverted, but I don't know, accounting seems like a mix, because it's a business field, but it is also kind of a more like to yourself business field. It's not like you're going out selling things. Like you're
I think kind of depends. It depends on what kind of role you are. I'm not super client facing yet, but like our tax partner Brandon is with clients daily at this point, or like especially in January he was eating lunches with them like all the time.
Yeah.
But to an extent, like if you like, we have a director, and so once you hit manager, you can go 2 different routes. Kind of like the director route, which is like, I think your salary's a little higher.
Yeah.
Or the partner route, which is where you get equity in the business.
I see.
And with the partner route, you're kind of, I think it kind of like the business is dependent on us having clients, and at that point, I think you're expected to bring in a certain percentage of revenue, or X amount of revenue, or something of that nature. And so I think depending on which route you go, it almost forces you a little bit to be more extroverted.
Yeah.
But so there's that. And then even in our group, like I said, there's about 20 of us in OKC for the tax side. We've been doing weekly or bi-weekly lunches just to bring the whole group together, and we'll do happy hours and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like it's kind of, I would say it's almost up to the individual at that point. It's like I'm pretty social. A lot of the team's pretty social, but some people just don't. They're quiet and they get their stuff done.
Put their head down and work. Yeah. Would you say those people are harder to work with sometimes, or do you? I guess you just have to manage the situation a little differently with them.
I would say manage a little differently, and I will say that like we have one girl who I believe is pretty introverted, but she is so damn she's
smart,
the smartest person in the room at the time. She knows her stuff so well, and so there's pros and cons to it. So like I would not say it's a negative at all. Especially if we work from home. Like there's days where I don't leave the house.
Yeah.
So I'm here most of the time. But
with working from home a lot, I guess you said you go and have like team lunches and happy hours and stuff. But is that what kind of the basis for encouraging like team camaraderie and like morale?
Like the happy hours are nice, and then we have 2 busy seasons really, where it's like I'm working a lot right now. Because we have that April 15th deadline, and I'm on these PE clients who want their stuff in like month, which kind of sucks. But once that kind of clears up, we slow down a little bit in the summer to where like I think I worked 65 hours last week, so kind of cheeks. But in the summer it'll drop. Yeah, in the summer it'll drop down to probably like 25.
Yeah.
And then once we get the fall, it'll ramp way back up to like pushing it.
And those are times when you have to go into the office a lot when you're really busy.
Yeah, like in the fall, I was in there all the time. Is
Mm-hmm.
where it's in the fall, it's these big family groups, these big clients, and it's like it'll work better just if we're
That
all
option
together.
to kind of just go in the office when it is most convenient, I guess, or most most productive is definitely something that we've kind of talked about in this class too, and just how to manage that with people. Coming back out of the pandemic, a lot of people are going back to the office, but I think having that option is pretty perfect.
Yeah, I agree. I'll almost argue that I work better in my box in my office at home.
Yeah,
because it's like when I'm in the office, it's like
I think I do too. You have
like, I
the
need to
two
talk to
big
somebody.
monitors that are
Yeah.
your own thing, and then you don't get sidetracked in conversations.
Exactly.
I definitely see that
I
too.
check my phone on like work mode and just grind away. But yeah.
Well, I think that is probably it. I appreciate your time, and
Happy
thank
to
you.
help.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.